Good morning, everyone. Um, I responded to making a little series out of uh, the experience of going through this change um, and sharing the things that I notice as they come. Um, my mind always wanted to tell me that it would have been nice if I could have shared and recorded my process as I went through my first 7 years in waiting in my experiment. And I'm not sure I would have been very successful at it. Um, because especially in those first 7 years, the mind has such a capacity to well stay hidden and make its way into the expression and turn into a story. Um, but this, in the way that this is now, it's almost like it's sort of a perfect moment uh, to be able to describe what's happening while sitting in the back seat looking out the window during an event that, uh, at least on the surface and in certain uh, experiential way, it can be intense. And people have been asking me, how am I? How am I? You as separation can be painful and filled with a lot of deep sadness and sorrow and, a myriad of other emotions and feelings in general. And so the energy came to share what that's like in more or less the rawest moments of how this is unfolding. And the biggest thing that I could talk about is just how the mind tries to get back in the driver's seat. So it doesn't matter how long I've been in my experiment. It's like, okay, yeah, now's the moment. Now's the moment I'm going to get back in. Now's the moment I'm going to climb back into the driver's seat. And so it's interesting to watch it. The way that it tries to get me is it tries to, like, wants me to go procure sex. It wants me to procure, a physical intimacy with somebody. And it's interesting to watch it try to do that, because what it's trying to do is it's trying to escape from what it is that I'm feeling. It wants to avoid that. It wants to, I mean, in its most primal state, it's actually trying to help me survive. And the way that it sees that it does that, it's like, oh, okay, what you're experiencing, this feeling that's there, yeah, we can change that. We can change that. We can make that go away. Let's go over here. We don't have to feel that. We can avoid and really it is the truth of it. It's the truth of it. It's the change of having somebody that I love no longer be there in my experience. And what it's like to sit in that space of whatever that is going through its own transformational process. So the mind jumps in and it's like, oh yeah, 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 go initiate with her, go initiate with her, like go get her, like as I'm walking around and I see women, and it's interesting too because for me, the mind doesn't age, right? It still sees things from its best moments in life. And so, and I watch, what it's grabbing at as far as trying to reach for. And it's, basically any women that are attractive, but primarily women probably between the ages of like 24 and like probably like 35 would be my guess. And so I just watch it, it like hones in real quick, and it's like, oh, look, it sees something beautiful and then it thinks, oh yeah, maybe that one, maybe that one. It's so funny because it's like it forgets that I'm 50 this year. I'm 50, my knees hurt, you know, the 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 body has heart disease, it's like it's got scars and it's got worn battle in it, and but the mind up here is like, oh yeah, 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 just you know totally unaware of the actual vehicle that it rests in now, what it's been through, where it's at, and just sit back and watch the comedy and the tragedy of all of the people out there who they themselves have those same thoughts, and they listen to them and they believe them and they chase them, like to really recognize, all these 50-year-old, 55, whatever year old men, and they chase these 20 some year old girls and early 30-year-old girls. And it's not to say that some of those aren't absolutely correct, and there's no judgment in that. I mean, sometimes it's totally real, and it's magic regardless, however the age differences between the two people. But I'm speaking more from the like how the mind comes up with an agenda or an idea, you know, and so then it motivates the man to like, you know, take testosterone replacement hormone therapy, not because it's correct, but because the mind says, no, 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 I got to get that youthful look. I have to look like a 25-year-old, and in order to get that 25-year-old girl, and I've got to, money's attractive. Money's attractive, so I just have more money, or maybe I pretend like I look like I have money, and I can get that. I can get that. It's interesting to sit back and watch how that thing works, and it really just seems like underneath there's a strong percentage of just avoiding feeling feeling whatever's there. Hmm. you know to watch it do that. And then the next layer that it goes for, that it tries, is it tries to grab at what inside of the relating, being with Emily was like, you know, what people will call red flags. Red flags. And it's interesting because every time it wants to grab onto those things and then um, get angry about it, it's met with, well, yeah, but you responded to it. It was correct, you know? And that's not to say that, you know, Emily has not been at periodic times an absolute asshole. You know, like I've, just as I've been an asshole. But it is interesting how it wants to take those asshole moments and use them as fuel to start to blame or yeah, I'd say that's mainly it. It wants to blame. It wants to blame. We're only in this because you did this. Or what it wants to do is it wants to turn around there and it wants to blame me. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, you had this sign, you had this sign, you had this sign. She did this and she did that. And you, I can't believe you didn't leave after that. I can't believe you stayed with her when she treated you like that. I can't, you know. It really wants to try and grab onto all of those things. And I don't know. I don't know what it really thinks the outcome again. I mean, once again, it alludes to that it just wants to avoid what it is that I am feeling. You know, it wants to avoid this place of unknownness, and it wants to move towards something that it knows, you know, anger, lust, um, you know, it knows those things. So let's go to where we know. Let's go to familiar territory. Because what is happening, it doesn't know what to do with it because it thinks it has to do something with it. And it's not that there's not laced in things in there, like that there is, I don't want to call it anger, but being upset, you know, whatever that, I don't know what you would call that other than I just, that there's something genuinely upset that this is the way that it had to be. You know, this was the helplessness that we both have to be in, you know. That with everything we know, everything, you know, it, it should have been like this or it could have been like that. And, you know, it goes back to the this and the that, you know. Uh, and it is strange. It's strange to walk around and have this unknownness after 15 years of your life being with somebody and always having that, even when we broke up before, it was always like there was still this tether, there was still this yeah, that there was still something left, there was still something left. It's interesting too because my response hasn't really moved me all that much. After the breakup, my studio is directly below her studio. So essentially, we're still in aura contact. And multiple people would ask me about leaving, and my sacral just wouldn't have any answer. It would just be like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And to have to sit in that, you know, and hear somebody come and go, vice versa, you know, and just watch it, wondering, okay, how long is this going to last? And then knowing too, like what that possibly looks like on the outside, more judgment, more assumptions, you know. It's really something to not let your mind interfere with your life. That no matter how rational something looks like on the outside, our inner authorities they have something else for us. And it's interesting too to like see how people look at this through the lens of uh, like there's two versions, right? Two versions. But this isn't a story. It's not about a story. It's mechanics. It's really just mechanical. And what I mean by that is it's like, what did I respond to? Where did that bring me? Um, where is there initiating, which generally means accountability? And it's like when that's able to be seen, it removes the stories. Screen went black. I don't know. Let's see where we're at. Is it still recording? I don't know. It stopped.